Good evening and salutations, my B&B fans. You know, it's episodes like this that are very questionable. Questionable to the future of The Bold and the Beautiful. Because as I understand it, that this show has a 1 year renewal. So you have 1 year to get your shit together. Otherwise, it's either bye-bye or they, I guess, just hoping and wishing upon a star that it could be moved to Paramount. Which I feel like that's what they may want to try. Because episodes like this, it's like, I mean, the only thing that wound up happening in this episode, the only thing that wound up happening in this episode was Hope and Carter kissing. And they pretty much spoil it in the title. Which this whole thing just came about out of a very awkward, unnecessary, somewhat boring conversation. Because he comes up to Hope and he's like, I've been sitting there running the numbers. And, with a little work, it looked like it's going to be great. It looked like your hope is going to sit, it looked like your hope line is going to sit there and flourish. And I was like, what are you talking about? Not that long ago, you were sitting there saying the numbers have not improved. Hell, they are on a downward trajectory. So, what is this sudden shift? What is this sudden shift that you magically made the numbers work in her favor? Was it to sit there and get in her pants? Because otherwise, I don't really understand how the numbers, and he keeps sitting there talking about the numbers are actually doing a lot better, and you've been working sitting there day and night, and the numbers are actually look like they're doing good. What? Part of me is like, I want to know how those numbers was from, well, practically dog shit to how they're magically doing a lot better. And the other part of me is like, I really care that much. They go, well, Hope talks about her woe is me, failed relationships with Liam, with Thomas, and how she can't find a man, and how, then the whole disaster with Finn. And I'm like, Hope, do you really want to sit there and go through memory lane? Because we can go through memory lane, okay? She plays the woe is me, I'm the victim in just bad circumstances. But you're not. You cheated on Liam with Thomas, and then you used Thomas as a sex toy, and you didn't want to sit there and commit. And he decided to sit there and finally have enough decency and respect and leave your ass. But yeah, you want to sit there and tell Carter like, oh, why can't I just not sit there and find like a really good man? Well, when you had a good man, you ruined it. And then you had another good man, and you ruined that as well. But it's everyone else's fault. Okay, sure. And of course, Carter didn't want to make her feel too much like shit, to be honest. It was like, well, I left Paris at the altar to be with somebody who left me not that long afterwards. And then they kiss. you know, I don't really understand what was the point of breaking up Carter and Katie. Because who is Katie going to sit there and go out with now? Deacon? Well, that's not going to happen because Deacon is with Sheila. And Sheila's there at this point. It's funny. Somebody sat there and said, what was the point of bringing back Sheila? What's the point of having Donna there? Besides my own personal wants for always wanting to look at Donna, what's the point of having Donna there? At least with Eric, he owns the house and, people can go there for sets and stuff, but in reality, do we really need both of them? So, yeah. Now, that's pretty much probably the best are the most interesting part is with the Hope and Carter stuff, because everything else just goes downhill. Um, then they spent there somewhat showing Will the ropes about being an intern. And Liam gets there, and Liam's surprised that he's working at Forrester Creations. He's like, "How do you think Dad's gonna feel about you, you know, working here instead of being with the family business and everything?" So they want to going out and they want to getting pizza, and the awkward conversations that they be having with these models. Where apparently they decide to make a whole segment of it, and I guess Liam is supposed to sit there and be his wingman, and Liam decides to sit there and start showing them pictures of his daughter. Which also, I just want to sit there and highlight that during this conversation, he talks about how he was married twice, and that both Hope and Steffi he has children with, which is an utter mess, by the way. And okay, so he's showing him pictures of this little girl and everything like that, right? And I get it. He's a proud father. He loves his daughter. His daughter is the most special person in his life. But that doesn't necessarily make for great conversation, right? Like, okay, I get it. Your daughter's special. Your daughter's special to you. These models are like their 20s, early 20s, mid 20s or whatever. They're not thinking about kids. So Will just has this look. I mean, Will just has this look on his face like, yep, this is what I needed. Needed him as a wingman. And most of these conversations are just so awkward. And I don't know if they're awkward because, like, I feel like some of these models can't necessarily act, which is fine because they're not actors, they're models. But it just makes for just really awkward and unnecessary, scenes. And this one just dragged on way too long. Now, Lee was in the episode for a little bit talking to Reg about the broken heart syndrome because, that's. And I talk about Taylor and how to sit there and handle Taylor and everything like that. And Brooke comes in and Brooke is like, what are y'all talking about? And I'm kind of just like, Brooke, I know that you and Reg are together. You don't need to know every single aspect, every single conversation that Ridge has. Like, Ridge doesn't need, Ridge shouldn't be walking around like, oh, so what was you talking about? I mean, I want to know what you were talking about. I mean, I'm just, like, curious. Like, no, you don't need to know everything. After that, they talk about Will working there, and, Ridge is like, so does Bill know? Can I tell him? He wants to sit there and just rub it in his face or whatever, right? They talk about that. They talk briefly about Taylor, but it's not about the whole heart condition, which is so stupid at this point, because now she still doesn't want her kids to know. And it's not even life-threatening. I mean, yes, it is life-threatening, but, like, it's not heart failure. Like, you're not going to die if you take care of yourself and actually get some therapy and stuff like that. You'll be fine. But for some odd reason, she still doesn't want her kids to know, which is stupid. And I know people can sit there and say, but Albert, people have a right to their medical privacy. Yes, in theory, when it comes towards your loved ones, I feel like it's pretty selfish. They also talk about Katie, and she says that, Katie has cold feet while being back with Bill. And I'm like, it's not really cold feet. It's more of a non-starter at this point. Why would you sit there and say cold feet? It's like, I don't know. I'm kind of teetering on it. I was like, no, it's dead end at this point. She does not want to be a consolation prize, and I respect that. The problem is that when she found out that Bill was moving on with Poppy, she was hella jealous. She didn't like somebody else walking in her house like, oh, she didn't like the idea that Poppy was the new lady of the manor. And she was like, oh, it's so weird and so awkward. This is a place that we used to share and this, that, and the third. It was like, yes, that's the past. She was hella jealous, right? And she tried to make it come across as concern. And let's be honest, up until a point, she didn't actually have much to be concerned of. So all this was fucking jealousy. Because somebody else was playing with her toy and she didn't like that. But now that Poppy's not there, now she's like, oh, I don't think we should be together and this, that, and the third. Like, Katie is such full of shit in a lot of ways. And this is part of the reason why I'm not a huge fan of Katie. Like, I don't hate her, but like, boo, you're a mess. And then you can even sit there and make things work out with Carter. You're jealous of one person, you don't want to make things work out with Carter, and now you're all like, ooh, I don't want to sit there and be with you, I don't want to be a consolation prize. Like, you're just a goddamn mess. But to be fair, this show is pretty much a mess. Now, I feel like that's pretty much about it. I can't think of anything else, but as I always sit there and say, if I miss anything, write it down in the comment section, or better yet, come to the live stream tonight. We'll talk about all the shows, Bold and the Beautiful, Young and the Restless, General Hospital, Days of Our Lives. Regardless of whatever title I put up towards my, title, I still talk about them all. Because clearly, I watched them all. If you can share this video, that definitely does help. It does get more people to watch the Bold and the Beautiful reviews. You know, oddly, there used to be a point when the Bold and Beautiful numbers used to be way higher than my Days of Our Lives reviews numbers. And I don't really understand that. So, sharing the videos would definitely help and kind of correct that whole imbalance in a way. Anyway, see you in the next video, or hopefully the next live stream. By the way, I do that Monday. Okay, so for new people, I do live streams Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, where I talk about all the shows. So anything that I didn't cover, if I didn't sit there and watch Bold and Beautiful, if I didn't review Bold and Beautiful, I watched it. And I will always sit there and talk about Bold and Beautiful as well, because that show is just, it is what it is. So, definitely come through. Anyway, I'll see you in the next video.